But there are,
Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. You'll have time after to hug and kiss some more.
I have a celebration.
Okay, and that is? Rev Ann is running, almost, sort of, moving quickly.
So, Deanna Joy is celebrating, and I am celebrating with her, that she walked in the door here this morning, and something that she was very concerned about resolving and making sure that she had arrangements for got resolved like that.
Yay.
Woo!
Yeah.
Just like
Okay.
Diana Lee is here. Is she here now?
Diana Joy.
Oh, Joy.
Deanna Joy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Get Joy. Okay.
different.
All right.
Yeah, Diana Lee's still in Portugal.
Okay. Couple of deep breaths.
Time for the 4 directions. The heart knows. Connect to the divine within and access the power of your heart. Its wisdom and grace will guide, comfort, uplift, and inspire you to be who you have come here to be. Please stand and face east. East, air. Air is the most unique and mysterious of all the elements. It represents all that cannot be seen, the soul, heart, and spirit world. It can be unpredictable, playful, seductive, and soothing. Slowly breathe in. As you breathe out, trust in the wide open spaces of spirit. The time has come to soar higher and experience vibrant living. Please turn to your right. South, fire. Fire is considered a primary agent of change. Through its heat, fire purifies and transforms. The energy of fire is about self-expression in its alluring and wildly brilliant dance of light. Step into the fire and live. Slowly breathe in. As you breathe out, let go of all limiting beliefs and step into the fiery spark of creation as you live out loud. Please turn to your right. West, water. Water represents the flow of life. It gracefully conforms to any container or environment. It is a powerful example of non-resistance. Be aware of the day-to-day currents and move freely with them. Slowly breathe in. As you breathe out, let go and give yourself completely to the wisdom and flow within. You are awake and in awe. Please turn to your right. North, earth. Earth energy is nurturing and grounding. A deep bond with the heart of Mother Earth is foundational for spiritual health because it gives each one of us a sense of purpose, invites us to be open and receptive, and reminds us of our interconnectedness with all life. Slowly breathe in. As you breathe out, take time to let go of the busyness of life. Embrace the quiet by connecting with Mother Earth. Please turn and face the center or your screen. Close your eyes and put your hands over your heart. Feel the presence of each of these elements within, honoring each as an element of spirit. Now open your eyes. Take a moment. As you see with the eyes of God, notice God looking back at you. You may be seated.
Rise up, let me rise up, joyful like a bird. When I fall, let me fall like a leaf without regret. When I rise up, let me rise up, joyful like a bird. When I fall, let me fall like a leaf without regret. When I rise up, let me rise up, joyful like a bird. When I fall, let me fall like a leaf without regret. Let me fall like a leaf without regret. Let me fall like a leaf without regret.
Good morning.
There you go.
I'm practitioner emeritus Jean Watson, and I have two readings. Today's first reading is by Wendell Berry. Geese appear high over us, pass, and the sky closes. Abandon, as in love or sleep, holds them to their way, clear in the ancient fate. What we need is here. And we pray not for new earth or heaven, but to be quiet in heart and in eye clear. What we need is here. The second passage is from the book The Grace of Aging by Kathleen Dowling Singh. Centuries of human beings expanded their views of the unknown world, through exploration. Each explorer left maps for others to follow, whether it be to the river or to the other side of the mountain or through the terrain of the Silk Road or across the vast ocean to the shock of a new continent. We are still doing it. Maps of galaxies and quadrants of the cosmos. The territory of awakening has been explored and mapped just as the world of form. Each wisdom tradition offers such a map, a way of viewing spiritual growth, which expands our horizons and informs our understanding of the journey. The map won't track the path each of us takes individually, but it does provide an overview of the landscape of increasingly more subtle and less obstructed levels of awareness, and can serve as a general guide to our continued spiritual growth. Our affirmation, I will read through once, and then we'll say it together. I am open to more wisdom and understanding that shapes my world.
I am open to more wisdom
And understanding
that
that
shapes
shapes my world. And so it is.
and so it is.
Good morning, I'm Joseph Salek, the music director here at the Everyday Center.
Yay!
Thank you. This morning it's a pleasure to welcome back my wonderful collaborator, Michoud Landon. Michoud is a ordained minister through the Boulder Psychic Institute, and she's also a poet and has published 2 books of poetry. She also teaches yoga and Tai Chi and Qigong, and she's preparing or will be involved in an exhibition at Vivo Gallery in January, and I'll remind us all of that as that draws nearer. Please join me in welcoming Michoud Landon. This is a song called It's Your Joy.
Walk from the temple of intellect, advanced degrees in introspection. So many ways to look at the world and not act. Doubts are like cowboys tending fences, telling God he's too expensive. Rules for reality that we enact. Surfing the wave of cause and effect, meeting consequences with no regrets. Capsize the throne at the water's edge, just get wet. Someone is knocking at your cellar door. It's your heart and your passion won't be ignored. Who is that knocking at your cellar door? It's your joy. Harness the anger held in the tower, falsely accused, that's your own power. The lion at the door, it's your own roar. The terror you learned so well to contain, wild horse of life straining at your rein. The ride of your life come home to reclaim you. Surfing the wave of cause and effect, meeting consequences with no regrets. Capsize your throne at the water's edge and get wet. Someone is knocking at your cellar door. It's your heart and your passion won't be Who is that knocking at your cellar door? It's your joy. Laugh the cobwebs from your solar plexus. Tell those shoulds, don't mess with Texas. Make friends with the unexpected, carpe diem. Shackles and ties so tightly bound round legs and arms have come unwound. Hands to the sun, roots to the ground resound. Surfing the wave of cause and effect, meeting consequences with no regrets. Capsize your throne at the water's edge and get wet. Someone is knocking at your cellar door. It's your heart and your passion will not be ignored. Who is that knocking at your cellar door? It's your joy. Dive to the center of all you adore. Live your joy. What is the gift that can only give more? It's your joy.
Okay. You know, Ernest Holmes is famous for telling this story. I've told it before. This woman approached him following a talk that he gave, and this happened in Los Angeles, and she approached him and she said to him, you know, if you believe that all is perfection, then why do you wear glasses? And he said, and he had kind of a funny voice. I wish I could somehow imitate it for you, but I can't. He said, well, I wear my doubt on my eyes. How about you? So, good morning every day.
Good morning, Rev Ann.
What a gorgeous day it is it not? Woo! Oh my gosh. We have been talking all month about the wisdom of trees. Both the wisdom that is right before our very eyes, and right now as the trees are turning and showing us living examples of what they do this time of year to be prepared for making new leaves later. This is the perfect moment to talk about pinon. And originally, this Sunday, I was going to talk about a different tree. But then, you know how I have those incomings? And I had it was really determined to get my attention. And it was, are you kidding me? You're not going to talk about pinon? So I decided, because, you know, this is my first experience living here in New Mexico. This is my first experience with pinon other than eating their delicious seeds. I knew nothing about the trees. And I found this wonderful article that I suspect was probably originally written as a white paper by this young enologist, something enologist, pinonologist. And in this article, she reminds us of how important the pinon is to New Mexico. One of her opening comments, in fact, is that we have been co-evolving with pinon for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Well, what we know as Hatch chili has only been with us since the 20th century. And Hatch chili doesn't necessarily come to everybody's mind as being, you know, the signature New Mexican thing. But for the people particularly who really love that chili, that might be, you know, if they were asked, what do you first think of when you think of New Mexico, they might say Hatch chili. They might not say the breathtaking blue sky. They may not say the incredible vistas. They may not say the stretches upon stretches upon stretches of breathtaking beauty that lay out before us every day. They might say Hatch chili. She went on to say that pinon is more deeply woven into local history than statehood itself. It appears in stories from the Hopi and Laguna people and has been found in hallmark historic locations, whether they are still old stands of pinon or they are evidence of where old stands of pinon once were, including Chaco Canyon, El Morro, and Bandelier. For millennia, pinon has provided many gifts for all who interact with it, including food, shelter, and warmth. Now, you know, I want you all to take a nice deep breath and feel the relief of knowing that this isn't just going to be a history lesson about pinon. What I really want to share with you, because I had this experience when I was reading this article, what I really want to share with you is a greater understanding of the connection of pinon with the people who live here and the connection of the people who live here with pinon, whether or not they realize it. I thought that our thing, well, at least my thing, with pinon seeds was, you know, it wasn't necessarily everybody's thing, although a lot of people like them. And they are an incredibly wonderful industry for the state of New Mexico. But there are birds, there are species of birds, there are species of insects, there are species of rodents, bless their hearts, and even fungi who cannot live without it. They would not exist if it were not for pinon. So what we're really looking at here is the interrelatedness of all things. And the interrelatedness may not be obvious to those birds and those insects and those rodents, bless their hearts, and the fungi. It is obvious. Because if it wasn't for that pinon tree, oh, another really cool thing I learned about the pinon, because I imagine how things work. You know, I look at something that's being watered and I imagine how it works, how the water gets to where it needs to be, not only in the root system, but, you know, out to the arms and the extension of the plant. I imagine how it works. Well, with a pinon, how it works is that the water travels in this channel, this very thin channel, just inside the bark. And the bark isn't so thick either. So if a woodpecker decides that your pinon looks tasty, and we have a couple of those in our yard, they can get to water by pecking at this very thin bark, no problem. That's the good news. The other news is so can beetles. Because the particular beetle that likes pinon likes it because of the access to water. It's just so interesting to me to do more than just talk about the idea of how connected everything is and how interdependent everything is. You know, there really is only one life. And it is all life. It is the creator of that life, it is the activity of creating that life, and it is the evidence, like that beautiful tree right outside the window, of that life itself. And each of us. And everything else. And the systems. I mean, we couldn't make this happen. Our brightest scientific minds could not figure out how to do this. Wait till I tell you what the this is. So I've already mentioned the birds and the rodents and the insects and the so on that depend on the pinon for their survival. But that's not the big part of the story. The big part of the story is pinon's relationship to mycorrhizal fungi. Mycorrhizal fungi runs even deeper, figuratively and literally, than its relationships with animals and people, which is endless. These fungal associates serve as extensions of the pinon's roots. And because these fungi are made up of microscopic strands. Just imagine this, microscopic strands of cells. They can explore for nutrients in soil much more effectively than plants. These little tiny cells. The relationship between mycorrhizal fungi and plants is so beneficial that mycorrhizae are associated with 90% of plant families. They move nutrients and water through this network back to the root tips of the plant partner, and each plant has its own partner. And each mycorrhizal fungi has its own plant partner. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. So the agreement between the mycorrhizal cells and the plant are that the plant will move the water and the nutrients, and the fungi will move the water and the nutrients, and the plant will provide what the mycorrhizal cells need to survive through the sugars made from photosynthesis. So it's a dance. What does this have to do with us? Just everything. Just everything. You know, this dance with plants and these fungi probably began at the very beginning of time, of plant time, or fungi time. I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg. And we have so much to learn from these things that we take for granted, that are just in our midst. So I've already told you that my relationship with Pinon, because I consider myself to have a relationship with every tree I ever met, and we have one in our front yard, is brand new, right? I've lived here for 9 years, and everything's new, still. It's all a discovery, still. And I truly hope it always will be. That's my intention. So, while Denise was out of town, taking care of some family things, I was doing all of the Denise things. And that's feeding the birds, cleaning the bird bath, taking care of the cats in the morning, etc., etc. And I go out because the bird feeder is hanging from our pinon. And then we have cylinders, a nut cylinder and a suet cylinder that also hang from the pinon. So I'm out there under the pinon, and I'm looking at these beautiful things that look like flowers, except they're hard. And I'm trying to figure out what in the world they are. So I gathered up a few and brought them into the house, and they were just so lovely. They looked like someone had, God maybe, had carved them and just left them in these beautiful shapes. One day, I walked out to take care of the birds, and there was one on the end of the limb of the pinon And if I hadn't been paying attention, I would have walked right into it.
Yeah.
It was right in front of my face. And there was one of these beautiful flowers just opening. Because I had looked at the pine cones on the pinon, and I thought, oh, there's no way. There's no way that these long skinny things make anything that look like this flower. And that's what they were. They were pine cones that had opened and dropped their seeds. And I was astonished at how artful they were and how many there were. And then I had a vision of a little pinon forest in the corner of our yard. And the thing is that we take so many things that we see, so many things that surround us for granted. Now, I'm telling you that the pinon have been here for millions of years. Before I said thousands and thousands and thousands, I know. But the real deal is they've been here for millions of years, and archaeologically there is lots of proof. And I'm thinking that maybe pinon are smarter than I am. I know what I know, both from learning and experience and learning some more and study. I'm way past both, aren't I? And personal inner discovery. But I still have these human reactions, these human experiences, these human questions, these human, we practitioners like to call them opinions, but they're really not opinions, they're judgments. It's a little spiritual bypass. And so I still have that. Exactly. Trees don't. Pinons don't. They don't argue with any of the other trees in our yard. They don't claim that their corner is a place where only they can grow. They don't pitch a fit and say, well, if that's how you're going to be to another tree or another plant in the yard, if that's how you're going to be, then I think we're done. They don't do that. Everything grows in harmony. A natural, loving harmony. That is our lesson. That is our lesson. And we have examples of it all around us, and we don't see it. We don't stop to think, oh, all of these things in this garden are, they're all growing and they're all doing well, and nobody seems to be fighting over their space or anybody else's space, and somehow it all works. The spiritual lesson here is that is the nature of all things. That is the underlying nature of all things that have ever existed, that exist now, and will ever exist. Whether or not it is recognized, known, understood, regardless. That is our divine nature, is to live in harmony. That is our divine nature, is to be open and willing to coexist. And it doesn't mean that the pinon has to become partially something else.
Right.
It doesn't mean that the chamisa has to become half lavender. Everything in nature exists as it is with its own support system. With its own support system. When are we going to really understand that we have the same? We have our own support system. And that support system doesn't know us as anything less than perfect.
Right.
It could give two poops about what we did when. Because you know what? That song that Mishu sang this morning about consequences and the law of cause and effect, that took care of it.
That's right.
Whatever it was. We may not have realized it at the time, and I might add that it might not yet be done, because if we're still hanging on to it, it's not done.
Right.
Not because it's not done, but because we say so. Because we say it's not done. Woo! Are we powerful?
Yes. Yes.
I tell you what, I am thrilled to contribute what I can to a healthy, peaceful, harmonious, collaborative, understanding, compassionate world.
Yes.
And that's my baseline. Because I'm not interested in participating in anything less than that.
Right.
To me, that is why I'm here. Is to be evidence of that standard with arms and legs. Just as all of nature is around me, reminding me at every moment that this is my nature.
Right.
There is so much. There is so much being generously poured into our senses all the time if we're caring at all to pay attention. It does require that, you know. There is so much supporting us, reminding us, uplifting us, encouraging us, calling us forward. to reveal the oneness that we are. And there is not a blankety blank thing on the planet that is reminding us of anything else. Because if anything else is interfering with that message, it's up here. Not in anybody else's head, but in our own. As my mother used to say, out, damn spot. Because we don't have time for that. I don't care how much time we have. It's not enough to waste one moment on anything less than a full, joyous, loving, harmonious, compassionate life.
Amen.
And so it is.
So it is.
And as usual, the great choreographer chose the songs for us, through us, without our knowing the full story until just now. So this one may be familiar to some of you. I think it's page 6 in the binder, We Belong. So if you want to sing along, we encourage you to do so on the choruses. You'll get the hang of it pretty quickly, and there'll be times when I'll be singing something different, so follow Joseph when he's singing. My copy has disappeared, so just a second.
Oh, did I steal it? I did.
I belong, we belong, all notes, one song. I belong, and you belong, every note belongs in the song. Everything here is welcome, millions of ways to live the truth. The future's a moving target, rest in the bullseye made for you. I belong, we belong, all notes, one song. I belong, and you belong, every note belongs in the song. I am a tree of wisdom, drawing what's true from ancient roots. Life is an endless orchard, every branch bears sacred fruit. I belong, and we belong, all notes, each one song. I belong, and you belong, every note belongs in the song. Sing along. I belong, we belong, all notes, one song. I belong, and you belong, every note belongs in the song. I belong, and we belong, drawing what's true from one song. I belong, you belong, every bush bears songs in the song. Everything here is welcome, always to one the south. Future is a moving target. Rest in the bullseye, look for the stars. Sing along. I belong, and we belong. All notes, one song. I belong, and you belong. Every note belongs in the song. One more. I belong, and we belong. All notes, one song. I belong, and you belong. Every note belongs in the song. Every note belongs in this song.
Woo! Good job.
I thought it was, but I didn't do it. Okay. Are you doing it? What do you, are you doing it?
Oh, sure, I'll do
I
it.
don't do it.
I'll do all that. Hang on one second. And let me just finish my bookkeeping here. Now is the time when we practice what we call conscious giving. And the idea of conscious giving at the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living is that it is an exchange that we participate in with life itself in appreciation for its support, but it doesn't need our money. You know, life doesn't need our money because life is all there is. It's got plenty of plenty. I got plenty of, and the intention here is to support where we are spiritually fed. And so the contributions that show up in the baskets are sometimes a check, sometimes cash, sometimes energy, sometimes volunteering to be of service. But that's why it's so important that when the baskets pass through our fingers, that we take a moment to set that intention for the money that we're putting in, for the energy that we are investing, because this is our spiritual family. And so, as we say our sharing affirmation, I would like for you to join me, and I'll say them first, and then I'll say each phrase first, so then you can repeat it after me if it's not familiar to you. To say them, speak these words with honor. Speak these words with pride. Speak these words with heart. Divine love.
Divine love.
Divine love.
Through the presence of my giving.
Through the presence of my giving.
I happily share
I happily share
all that I have,
all that I have,
all that I am,
all that I am,
all that I give,
all that I give,
and all that I receive
and all that I receive
abundantly.
abundantly.
And so it is.
And so it is.
If the ushers would join me, please. And together we bless and express our gratitude to these dear ones who do this sacred service. I honor your intentionality as you carry these baskets from person to person, inviting them to put their hands on the edge and leave their personal blessing inside. And so it is. And so it is. All are invited to honor Chuck Zobak, Carol Rose's husband, Bonnie's brother, at his celebration of life this coming Tuesday. Gathering begins at noon at Rivera Mortuary on Rodeo Road, and that will be followed by a military interment with honors at the National Cemetery. I'll be right with you. Bring someone or ones, you're not limited to only one, to Friends and Family Sunday on November 5th. But you have to get up on time. Because that's when we go to standard time, right? Right. There will be special music by the Everyday Singers and a light luncheon and treats for visiting after the service. A donation box will be on the table for people in need in the Middle East. Give yourself the gift of prayer. Today's practitioners on duty for prayer following service are Carol Rose, Patty Berry, Bren Travis. So Patty and Bren, would you raise your hands please so people can see who you are? Because this is a one-on-one opportunity that is worth taking advantage of. Just to give you a little faith lift for the week.